So this is an equation that describes how a physically fit man breathes, as in how much air he breathes into his lung and how much air he brings out of his lungs. And when you breathe in, the air in your lungs gets bigger. And then when you breathe out, the air in your lungs gets smaller. So we're probably going to have a picture that goes up and down, because when we breathe in, the air in our lungs is more, and then as we breathe out, the air in our lungs decreases. Okay, first let's find the cycle, or the period. It's 2 pi over b, and if we're looking at our equation, a is the 0.8, b is that fraction thing with the pi, and nothing else exists. Okay, so let's see, 2 pi over 3.5. Oh no, fraction on fraction, keep, change, flip. Keep the 2 pi on top the same because it was on top. The bar changes to a dot. The bottom flips upside down. We learned today from identities that the pi's cancel, but if not, if you don't remember that, multiply left to right. And we get 2 times 3.5. 7 pi over, pretend 1 times pi. Pi. Pi's cancel. 7. Okay, so it says, how long is the respiratory cycle? As in, how long does it take for this man to breathe in and breathe out once? Well, it takes 7. We need to figure out the time. It says where t is the number of seconds in a cycle. So it says, how long is the respiratory cycle? 7 seconds long. It takes 7 seconds for a physically fit male to breathe in and out. Where his lungs meet their maximum capacity. So it takes 7 seconds for a physically fit male to breathe in and take up all the room in his lungs and then breathe out and get all the air out of his lungs. So this is not saying that the man next to you breathes in and out over a period of 7 seconds. This is saying if the man next to you, or you, the man, wants to breathe in and fill your lungs up, it's going to take 7 seconds. Okay. B says maximum rate. Well, that's the highest spot, or the amplitude. Okay. And the amplitude is this 0.8. Okay. And the rate of air intake, up above here, we said the rate of air intake R in L seconds. I think it means liters per second. I'm not sure. You might have to Google that. So this means that the most amount of air that can fill a man's lungs, if he breathes in super deep and super strong for 7 seconds, is 0.8 liters per second. This is as much as he can intake, 0.8 liters per second. So after 7 seconds, he has 0.8 plus 0.8 plus 0.8 plus 0.8, like 7 times. Okay, let's go to C. C says graph 1 cycle. Okay. How high do we go? It's the amp. Okay. How low do we go? It's the amp, but negative. Where do we end at the cycle? Or the period? 7. Okay. Where do we start? Well, there was no C or D up here. So we just start at 0, like we always do. Okay, I say that We always do that because this equation is sine, and sine looks like it starts in the center, and then it humps up and it humps down. Yeah. Okay, so let's graph it. Hump up. Halfway through, it's supposed to come back down. Okay, that's not quite a good picture, but good enough. It says graph one cycle. I did it. Halfway through the cycle, it crosses through the x-axis. Halfway is 7 divided by 2. That's 3.5. Okay, they asked on what interval does inhalation occur. Okay, so when you inhale, you get more air, bigger air. When you exhale, you have less air. Okay, so inhaling means the amount of air in our lungs increases. Yeah, so this is where we inhale. But then we exhale. Then we inhale again. Okay, so you might be confused because you thought we were just talking about inhaling once and exhaling once, but this says graph one cycle of the function. That means it only looks at a certain portion of the graph. Remember, this goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. But for right now, the inhalation is from 0 to whatever this x value is, and whatever this x value is, to 7. So my inhalation is from 0 to something, we don't know, whatever this x value is, and from something, whatever this x value is, to 7. Okay, we have to find what this x value is. Well, sine is symmetrical. So if the whole thing is 7, divided by 2 is 3.5, divided by 2 again to find this middle piece. And that should be 1.75. So this is saying that the guy inhales from 0 to 1.75 seconds. Then he exhales from 1.75 to whatever the x value is here. Well, can't do 3.5 divided by 2. I can't do 7 divided by 2. I kind of have to get tricky, and I have to say 3.5 plus a fourth of this is 1.75. And that makes 5.25. Oops. So this is supposed to be 5.25. So we inhale at 2 different intervals. Okay, now let's look at exhale. We exhale when the amount of air in our lungs decreases. Okay, so it's going to be from 1.75 to 5.25. Bracket. Woohoo! Okay, I think we answered everything from that question. Remember, it's bonus, so if you can only get to A to B, do it. If you can halfway get the picture drawn, do it. Anything is everything, okay? I need some stuff to give you credit. Okay, on the last one, let's scratch out this D and E. That's too much for this word problem. I haven't taught you. Okay, part A says, what is the period? Round to the nearest hour. Okay, period. 2 pi over B. That's 2 pi over, who's my B? Oh, okay, well, let's go up here. A is negative 5.7. B is that decimal with the 6's. C is that negative decimal. D is the 46.7. So we're going to say 2 pi divided by 0.266. And it says round to the nearest hour. Hallelujah. So you're going to press second. You're going to press the number 2, then second up to get that pi. And I got I got 24-ish. Okay. And yeah, 24. So that means this question was talking about temperatures, and it's saying that the period of the temperatures is 24 hours. That makes sense because in Texas, the temperature at 2 a.m. today is probably the same or similar to the temperature of 2 a.m. tomorrow, and 2 a.m. the next day, and 2 a.m. the next day, until the seasons change. Especially in April, okay? So, let's go to B. B says, what's 46.7? 46.7 is the D. That's the vertical shift. And that's okay. That's all you have to tell me. I think in class we might have said this would be an example of like maybe, well, this would be an example of a city that is hot to begin with, okay? Because the temperature is shifted up 46.7 already. If this was Texas, our equation would probably be like a 97.8 or something, because our temperature starts so much higher. If this equation was talking about, instead of a Midwestern, maybe it was talking about Alaska, then my vertical shift would be negative something, because Alaska temperatures start way lower than normal. Okay. So anyway, this tells us where we start. And it starts 46.7 degrees higher than an average city. Okay, part C says 5.7. What is the 5.7 for? Okay, well, the 5.7 is the amplitude, how high we go. Okay, and it's also negative. So that means that our original picture gets flipped over. So remember, this has cosine in it. Cosine. You see it? Cosine. You see it? It's right there. Cosine. Okay. Cosine usually looks like a parabola. Okay? But the negative means the cosine flips to, okay. What that means is that my temperatures start low, and that makes sense. For example, in Texas, our temperatures start low at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Then they get high, like at high noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Then they start going back down. Or they get high, like at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., stuff like that. And then they start sinking back down. Yeah. Okay, so part A, the answer was 24. Part B, 46.7, vertical shift. Part C, 5.7 is how high, and the negative means the temperature starts low, goes high, then goes low again. Okay, remember that these are bonuses, so if you can't get B, but you know a little bit about C, do it. Anything is everything. And then also on these questions with more than one piece, like this amplitude, I'm not going to give you 3 of those. That's lame. I'll just give you 1. On 14, I'm not going to give you 3 of those. I'll just give you 1. You get the point? Okay. And then easy stuff will be worth small amounts of points. So these amplitudes might be like 1 point each. Super lame. But then, let's say number 6 that has triangles, SOHCAHTOA, reciprocals, Pythagorean theorem, that calculator, yeah, that's going to be worth more points. Okay. I think you get the drift. Also, I'm going to put a copy of this on Blackboard, and I'm going to put a copy of your Test 1 answers on Blackboard if you want to see how I score. Like big problems get big points. Little problems get little points. Okay, good luck. I'll see you tomorrow.